James Wan, he's directed like 2 movies in 1 month. That guy is on a roll. He's gonna take over Hollywood. And personally, at this point, I am cool with that. Cancel that Ninja Turtles movie and we will be good. Insidious Chapter 2. So, spoiler alert, because it doesn't tell you in the title, this is Chapter 2 to the Insidious franchise. And yes, I'm guessing this is the Insidious franchise and they're going by chapters now, and this is Chapter 2 of the Insidious franchise. And in this movie, the main guy from the last movie, played by the man whose name escapes me, in the last movie, he went into that realm thing to get his son back, and now he got his son back, but something followed them. And now the family has to deal with that in this movie, and that is basically the main problem of the movie. And when I first heard about what was going to happen, I'm like, oh, this is typical horror movie crap. But ultimately, I did enjoy this movie. And you know, as we go on in this movie, it has its fair share of scares. It doesn't go overboard in this one like it did in the last one. I'm not saying it doesn't scare you, because it has to. It's Insidious. But in this one, in the end, I felt more like I was watching a mystery. And even more surprisingly than that, it did not bother me. And I'll tell you why I did like this. It's because it's like it was one clue led to another one. We were basically following the breadcrumbs in the paper trail, or the spectral paper trail. And constantly throughout the movie I was on the edge of my seat like, okay, what are they going to do next? This is really actually interesting me. And every now and then we'd have a jump scare or an actual scare thrown in there that'll leave you feeling like you're still watching Insidious. I can compare this movie to like a scarier version of an episode of Scooby-Doo. And that's not a bad thing. I like Scooby-Doo and I liked this movie. Another thing that I really did enjoy about this movie was the fact that it tied into the first one really well. I mean, even from the beginning, you're like, okay, this is tying into the first one, we're understanding more that we didn't understand originally. And there's one scene in particular that I was just like, that's actually brilliant, and the way they tied that in with the first one is great, and I didn't know that in the first one they had planned it like this. I didn't know if they had. But it goes to show that this is actually a good horror movie sequel that isn't forced. I felt like they had planned it to be like this, and they did that really well. Some of the parts that you see in this movie turn out the way you think it's going to turn out, and that honestly brought it down for me. And in the part that I said that I really enjoyed that tied back to the first one really well, I was like, that is really cool. But now that I think of it, it detracts from the horrorness of the movie more. And being that it is Insidious, one of the scariest movies ever, Insidious 1, that was honestly one of the best horror movies ever. But being that it is a sequel to that, I should be scared out of my mind. But I didn't, and again, it did not bug me. It's like the coolest parts of the movie are what made the movie less scary. Darth Maul wasn't in this one. That was, you know, the little Darth Maul thing from the original. Yeah, he wasn't in this one. They also had some weird dark humor in it that James Wan personally, I thought he could have left it out, because it did detract from the horror even more. But it wasn't one of those cool things. It was one of those just, okay. Even with this, I really did enjoy Insidious Chapter 2. The acting around was good, the story was good, it intrigued me, it was less scary than the original, which personally did bring it down for me, but I'm gonna say Insidious Chapter 2 is a good time, no alcohol required. Insidious Chapter 2 is a good Chapter 2 to the Insidious trilogy. Yes, I imagine it's going to be the Insidious trilogy, and then they're going to go off and make a 4th one, and a 5th one, and a 6th one, and then it's just going to get really out of hand and aimless, kind of like the Paranormal Activity movies. Insidious Chapter 2, have you seen it, have you not? What did you think of it? Comment below, let me know, and if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.